The first stage of Egyptian history, for which we have substantial written and archaeological documentation, is known as the Old Kingdom. This period lasted from roughly 2700 BCE to about 2200 BCE and corresponds to the 3rd through 6th dynasties. Before going further, it is important to clarify what historians mean by the term dynasty in an Egyptian context. When we think of dynasties today, we often imagine royal families like the House of Windsor in England, where power passes neatly from parent to child. Egyptian dynasties, however, were not strictly about bloodlines. Instead, they are best understood as groups of rulers who held power during a particular period. The transition from one dynasty to another did not always involve the replacement of a family. For example, the last king of the 2nd dynasty was the father of the first king of the 3rd. What changed was not the family, but the political organization and concentration of power. During the Old Kingdom, the pharaohs possessed extraordinary authority. It was an era marked by stability, security, and prosperity. Pharaohs were regarded as god-kings, a belief clearly reflected in their titles, rituals, and, most famously, their monumental tombs. Pharaohs were often described as great god or perfect god, emphasizing their divine status and unique relationship with the gods. Egyptian art from this period reinforces this idea. Iconography frequently depicts an intense intimacy between the pharaoh and the divine world. One striking example shows the pharaoh face-to-face with the god Horus, represented as a falcon. The two figures are shown at equal height, and their faces are nearly touching, as if exchanging breath. This imagery powerfully conveys the idea that the pharaoh was not merely favored by the gods, but shared their nature. Unlike Mesopotamia, Egypt during the Old Kingdom was largely isolated from foreign invasion. While there was some trade and limited movement of people, Egypt was not repeatedly overrun by outside powers. This geographic isolation contributed greatly to the kingdom's stability and allowed its rulers to focus their wealth and energy inward, especially on monumental construction. For this reason, the Old Kingdom is often called the Age of the Pyramids. Egyptians of this period believed that only the god-king was immortal. As a result, pharaohs began building their tombs as soon as they ascended the throne. If a predecessor's tomb had not been completed, the new pharaoh was expected to finish it. Doing so not only honored the previous ruler, but also legitimized the new king's claim to power and helped maintain cosmic order. Some pharaohs were buried with extraordinary wealth. Tombs contained furniture, food supplies, wine cellars, personal belongings, and in some cases even servants or animals, including pet lions, meant to accompany the king into the afterlife. These practices underline the belief that the pharaoh's divine life continued beyond death and that his well-being remained crucial to Egypt's stability. Although later dynasties would produce temples and monuments that rivaled the pyramids in scale and grandeur, nothing would ever surpass the symbolic power of the Old Kingdom pyramids. They stand as enduring evidence of a society that was unified, confident, and deeply committed to the divine authority of its rulers.